everyone, it's Jessica Dybzinski, and today's video is part of the Makers with Heart collaboration. So my crafty friends and I have decided that in the month of April, we are all going to focus on close to my heart's color of the year, which is Wildberry. And you can see here that it is this really pretty pink color that is so bright and fun. And right now, Close to My Heart is actually having a Wildberry Blast special in which you can get products that are colored in that Wildberry color, so cardstock, glitter paper, die cuts, and all sorts of things that are on special right now. So I am going to be making a scrapbooking page for these two photos of me and my cute little bunny Baxter, but you can see there's not really a whole lot of color going on in my photos, so that's why I thought I would use this Wildberry color. I've also pulled in this scrap piece here from the In Full Bloom collection, and I'm going to use this gray and black side. And then this is a little sneak peek for you. So next month you'll be able to get the mix-in collection for May and June, and that's a mint piece from there. And then I'm going to build my page on this sweatshirt looking gray material paper from the current mix-in collection. So lots of grays, lots of blacks, but then like I said, one of my favorite ways to use Wildberry is as a pop of color because it is so bright and fun. And that's going to be my goal today for this particular layout. So on my Cricut, I've gone ahead and cut my Wildberry cardstock at a 9-inch scalloped circle. And then I took that mint colored pattern paper from the new Mix-In collection that's coming out next month, and I cut that as an 8-inch circle so that I can layer the two of them over the top of each other like this. And then what I'm going to do is take that really pretty black and white and gray paper from the In Full Bloom collection, and I'm just going to cut a length of it and then dovetail the end, and I'm going to slide that underneath as sort of like a base for my photos to sit on. And I'm just really kind of playing around right now to see how I want this to go. I wasn't really working off of a particular pattern or anything. I did see several different pins on Pinterest that had a similar sort of idea going on. So it just kind of was getting inspiration from all over the place and making it work for me. Now I want my photos to definitely pop. And like I said, my goal for this layout was to use that Wildberry color as something that really just popped right off of all of this gray and black and white that's going on. So I decided to double mat my photos. They are printed already with a white border around them. So I cut a Wildberry mat and then a black cardstock mat so that I've got lots of definition between my photos and then what is going to be going on underneath of them. I did dovetail the end of that one piece. And then the other thing I need to do before I get too far along here is add some background splatters to my paper. So this is the Dina Wakley white gloss spray, and it is so fun. It's just the same thing as splattering white paint, only it dries a whole lot faster. And in my opinion, it's a lot cleaner to use because you can just unscrew the top and then tap against it and create some white splatters that way. And then I decided that since I had that gray background piece and then I'm using this In Full Bloom paper here, and they're both the same kind of color, that I needed to definitely add some edge distressing with black ink to that paper to make sure that you could see the difference between the two of them when they are layered together. All right, now I'm going to turn my attention to creating some of my embellishments, and I pulled out some of my favorite stamps here. This is the Doodled Florals stamp set, and then also the Daisy Meadows card making stamp set. And I've already cut a bunch of the thin cuts out. Those are the coordinating die cuts that go along with these stamps in White Daisy. And then now I'm just going to stamp my images over the top of them. I love this bunny. He is so cute. I'm stamping him in intense black ink since I will be coloring him later. So definitely use intense black anytime you're going to be coloring your stamped images. Now my friend Julie actually just made an adorable Easter card using this exact same stamp set. So I will leave the link to that video down below. You're definitely going to want to check it out. One of my other favorite things about this stamp set is that you can stamp the carrot in two separate pieces. So I've grabbed some nectarine ink to stamp the carrot part of it. And then I'm going to use the fern color to get the leaves at the top of the carrot. And I thought that the nectarine color paired really well with Wildberry. The orange and the pink just really played nicely together, and so I went ahead and stamped some orange flowers as well. And then here you can see out of that doodled floral set that I've gone ahead and stamped a whole bunch of other pieces using mint, wild berry, nectarine, and fern. So I want to make these pieces pop just a little bit more, plus I need to color in my bunny. So I have turned to my watercolor pencils here from Close to My Heart. Now, the thing about my bunny Baxter is that his fur is all black. And so I couldn't exactly grab a black marker and color his image in, because then you wouldn't even be able to see the image, right? So that's why I thought if I use a black colored pencil, then you can still tell, you know, where he is and see that outline image there. So I am purposefully coloring this on the foam side of my Versamat. Close to My Heart has released several helpful videos on how to use your watercolor pencils and get the look that you are hoping to achieve. And they were right. If you color them on a softer surface, then you don't get any of those harsh stroke lines. So that's really fun. Then I decided that rather than leaving it as a dry color, I was going to take my water brush and blend it all in together. So this just, if you add water to your watercolor pencils, it just changes them from a dry colored look to something that looks more like paint. So I will just take my water brush, and I was trying to make sure it wasn't too terribly wet, but just enough to move that color around my image. And there he is. I added a little bit of pink for his ears and his cheeks and whatnot. And now what I'm going to do, like I said, I want to add just a little bit more color to these doodled florals. So another thing that I have learned is that you can take your water brush and pick up some color just from the tip of your pencil. It's almost like it's its own little paint palette. So I'm grabbing a little bit of orange off of my orange watercolor brush or pencil, and then once that color is on my brush, then I just go around the inside of those flowers and add just a little bit more orange to it. I don't color all the way to the edges of the petals, just more towards the center. And then a third way that I am actually going to add some color to these stamped images is to take my wild berry ink pad, squeeze it in the middle, so that way I leave some of that ink in the top tray, and then I'm going to use that like my paint. So I'm going to pick it up again with my water brush and then just paint it onto my stamped image. And I'm going to make these smaller flowers all colored in wild berry, and then using the same technique, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra wild berry colors to the larger florals that I have up there in the top left. So there you can see I'm just kind of finishing coloring this guy in. And this is something that works really well as a way with any of your ink colors to add some color to your images. Okay, and now that I have all of those pieces ready as embellishments, I love this flower. You can see how I added just a little bit of wild berry to it. And this bunny, of course, my little Baxter. I'm ready to start building this page. So I'm going to speed things up just a little bit because it's mostly gluing things down. I'm going to put the circle down first, and it's going to be towards the bottom right of the page. Then I'm going to pull out my T-square ruler so I can make sure I get this next part down straight. And I'm going to put the info bloom paper down over towards the bottom of my circle. And then I will layer that zip strip over the top. And again, I like to use my Versamat and my T-square ruler just to make sure that everything goes on straight. I don't know how I lived without these tools before. I'm sure all of my previous pages were crooked. So if you don't have that T-square ruler or a Versamat, I highly recommend them. So now I've got that there, and then I'm going to put my photos down, one layered over the top of the other, and both of them kind of crooked on the page, something like that. So like I said, I'm just kind of trying to dry fit things and see what I like before I glue anything down. And I think I'm pretty happy with the photo placement like that. So I'm going to put that one down first because there's a lot of blank space up in the top corner of that page or of that picture, so that I can layer the other one over top. And then I'm going to add some foam tape to the back of my Baxter bunny. and he's going to go down over here in the bottom right corner. And then here's where I'm just grabbing all of those flower die cuts that I had made and painted and colored, and just putting them around to kind of see, you know, what looks good where. I made those 2 carrots and I liked having them as part of that floral cluster, just as something a little bit different, you know, to go along with the flowers since it is a bunny page. And so I'm going to have that one cluster in the bottom right, and then I'm going to put another cluster up here at the top left of my photos. And then I'm going to need to have a third point somewhere because I do like to think about that visual triangle. So I have one orange flower left, and I think I'm just going to tuck it up here under my photos like that. Then this is a piece from that Daisy Meadows card making stamp set that I had stamped in mint ink, and I want to put my title on it or perhaps a date, so I'm just going to tuck that up there. So I've gone ahead and glued everything down, and most things are flat to the page, but I did put a couple of the flowers up on some thin 3D foam tape, and then my bunny is up on regular foam tape. So that's how that all came together. And now I need to stamp my title up in that little mint box up there. And so this is from a new stamp set called Some Bunny Loves You. And that's actually the sentiment that I'm going to stamp. Some bunny loves you. And that is going to be my title. And then I realized that I probably should have stamped that on that little piece of paper first before having everything glued underneath of it. I was a little worried, but it did end up stamping just fine. Okay, and now I want to pull in my wild berry colored accent pieces and just add even more wild berry to this page. Like I said, my goal for this was to let the wild berry be that pop of color in and amidst all of the grays and the blacks and the whites, and just something that kind of added that vibrancy to my layout. So I'm using the ribbon, which has like this fun stitching detail to it, and I tucked some of that under my photo there and attached it with glue dots. And then these are the enamel dots that are in the wild berry color, and I'm going to scatter those around by putting them in the centers of some of the flowers, and they come in various sizes, so I'm using the medium ones and the bigger ones. Okay, and then once I am done with the enamel dots, I am going to turn to my wild berry loose sequins. I love this bag of sequins because there are lots of different shades of wild berry in them, and then there's also like a heart-shaped sequin and just so many fun things in there. So I will use my pickup tool to grab the ones that I want, and then I'm going to attach them to the page using my green Tombow liquid glue. And I will put those around where my 3 different clusters are, and that's pretty much it. I just have to add my journaling to this page. So tomorrow is Kim, and she is going to be the last one in the Makers with Heart collaboration. She's closing out the week for us. Everybody else has already gone, so make sure that you check out the links down below because the other ladies have made some really beautiful projects focusing on this wild berry color. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this one. Like I said, my goal was to let that wild berry be my pop of color while I had so much other neutral stuff happening in my photos, in my background papers, and I hope that that's what I achieved. If you are not already a subscriber, but you like what you have seen, I would really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. And I am close to my heart maker, so if you saw anything that you loved, I will leave a link down below to the products that I used. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and happy crafting. Bye.